This is the Amazon 1 month overview reading for the month of August 2023. It's currently June 9th, 2023, 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Amazon at the time of this reading in the extended hours is currently $123.18. That's USD. And the shuffle file for the Amazon reading was created on May 20th, 2023 at 11:23 p.m. That's this file right here. So the overall theme of behavior for the month of August, we have a significant amount of price change. You can count on that when it comes to when you see the Magus card. A lot of price change. It'll stand out amongst other overall kind of price movements compared to like the other months of the year. And it is a notoriously difficult card to determine in the theme position, to determine overall direction, because it can go in either direction, the Magus card, depending on the surrounding cards. But in the case of what's going on here, being in the theme position, a little bit more difficult. The ruins overlaying it do, however, give me a little bit more insight, and what I see is a pretty big move higher early in the month, possibly a breakout taking us to a peak or crest like somewhere around the middle portion of the month, and then a significant move to the downside taking us to a low for the month. When we look at the overall kind of correlations, it does appear that could very well take place. When we look at the lowest low, the Hierophant card speaks of two things. We might have something going on with Congress in the month of August having to do with Amazon. More likely than that, what we see is two lows with a peak or high in between. So two lows, one on either side of a high, making like an overall pop and drop. And that's what I'd want to notate when in real time looking to determine if we've met the lowest low. I'd want a lowest price level for Amazon in August. And I'd also want to see that as kind of the criteria. Same thing for the high. I'd want to see a highest price level, but what I'd want to see as chart behavior off of that highest price level in August will be a sharp decline on a multi-day scale, and that would be another criteria for me to determine that we've met the highest high there. Before we go any further, let's take a look at the 1 year and see how we've done thus far. So in that first month, we pushed the upper end of a range higher in January, looks like into late January, and there's a trough in early and a trough in late January with a sharp decline there. You could say either here or you could say here. Either way, there's a big move or to the downside, a unicursal off of a peak or crest in January. February, it looks like we kind of have as the high, we have this move to the upside and then this move back down, which again is kind of what the Hierophant energy is from the standpoint of a chart pattern. We'll move higher and then a move back down off of that high, creating like a sharp peak. And we see that taking place around the high for February. Significant move and the beginning of a rally in early March. That's the Sun card. End of a period of volatility marked by a fast sudden move higher. That's the Knight card. We had the high for the month within close time proximity to a trough on the scale of like a 1 year trough. So this is looking pretty solid, guys. In May, we had a unicursal drop there. We had a trough there in early May. Yeah, this is looking very, very solid. And with that said, what we should be expecting is here in August to see a highest high for the year thus far. It's possible we see it again, and there is a chance that we see it again at the end of the year, but we do have a lowest low correlation. It's a pretty strong lowest low correlation here in October, so I'd be mindful of that, guys. Also, I'm not actually seeing any trade advisement, so the highest high may be here on the cusp. It's August, September. I'm leaning towards August right now, but it could be in September. All right, let's get back into it. That was looking pretty solid, guys. So on the first, we have a fast sudden move higher. There's our first trade opportunity of the month. I'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. On the second, also, we've got a similar trade opportunity there. Again, talk about it in the paid version, but what we see here is a peak or crest about mid part of the day, around noontime, maybe a little after noontime, a peak or crest, and we sell off from that through multiple support levels. On the third, out of that decline, we have a notable move higher in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds, possibly a gap up the following day, a notable move higher, possible gap up the following day, and a day trade opportunity on the fourth as well. There's probably an important crest there on the third on a 1 month scale as well. Not a highest high, but an important crest that would stand out. On the seventh, we have a crest as well. Remember, this is Amazon, very volatile stock in a lot of cases. And we have sideways rotation, a crest early in the day on the 7th, and sideways rotation along a key support level, a sharp drop within that period of sideways rotation, and a trade opportunity. Guys, if you're interested in learning about the trade opportunities, it's a really great way to support the channel by getting the paid version. We definitely remember the names of everybody that gets the paid version, because you guys are the ones that are really making it possible for us to produce content, and we wouldn't be here without you at this point. So right here at monthly subscription, you can subscribe to any of these tickers or crypto, or if you're interested in all of them, you can get the 250 subscription. What this is, it gives you all of the best trades that we see, as well as things like, I'll give you an example here at this peak or crest. There's a trade opportunity in the midst of the decline to open up a long position. Looks like the following day, or on the 4th, in the midst of the decline off of that peak of the crest on the 2nd, where we open up the long position, there's this big move through the 3rd into the 4th probably, and on the 4th is where you would close that long position at a key technical resistance level on a 1-month scale, where volume or volatility will kind of flatten out, at least momentarily. That's where I would exit out of that. I mean, that gives you an example what you would get out of it. There obviously would be a lot more, and we talk about multi-month trades. We talk about multi-year scale trades if they're relevant for that month. Much appreciation to all of you that go ahead and do that. So trade opportunity there on the 7th. On the 8th, again, another trade opportunity in the midst of a decline. So that sharp drop probably continues from the 7th into the 8th, and then out of this trough that we see midday on the 8th, there's a big move from the bottom of a range all the way to the top of a range. We have a peak or crest at the cusp of the 8th or 9th, and a sharp decline, looks like overnight. Pretty sharp drop overnight, and then what appears to be like a rally into either the 9th or the 10th, where we have a highest high, probably the 10th, where we have a highest high for the month. That's the highest probable location of a highest high. A lot of price change will be covered, and an important resistance level highlighted there on the 10th. That rally ends on the 11th with a trade opportunity right around the cusp, and a fast sudden move higher, marking the end of that rally, and that followed by a breakdown through a diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. And that takes us into a trough on the 14th, an important prominent trough on the 14th that'll stand out on a 1 month, where we decline to and through a support, meet a second support, and rotate sideways along that support. Does appear a rally commences out of that trough. It's a sideways fluctuating rally continuing into the 15th, preceding a decline probably on the cusp. There's a drop overnight, or on the cusp of the 15th and 16th there's a decline, but then an unexpected move higher throughout the 16th. Move higher continues on the 17th, pushing the upper end of a range higher, and then on the 18th we have another prominent crest or peak. There is some indication of a highest high here on the 18th. It is possible that we see a higher price level here on the 18th than we had on the 10th. It's not as high of a probability of being a highest high as the 10th, but I am getting some kind of like energy there. I am picking up on something there. I can put my foot on it exactly. It may be that we see the same high again, and then we have the halting of a bullish trend on the 21st, marked by a sharp decline through key support level. The following day we have a big move higher on the 22nd, a breakout on a multi-day scale even. A lot of price change on the 23rd, taking us into where most likely have a lowest low here on the 23rd. If not here on the 23rd, then probably on the 25th, but most likely here on the 23rd, with a lot of price change. And there's a cash out opportunity here, which we talk about in more detail in the paid version. We've got a lot going on here on the 23rd and the 24th. There are some correlations here in orange to the Magus card, so a lot of price change, probably to the upside, my sense here, out of the low on the 23rd into the 24th. There's a big move higher towards the end of the day on the 24th. And then on the 25th, we decline pretty hard overnight, or starting from that peak or crest on the 24th into the 25th, and see sideways rotation along a key support level with a fast sudden move higher that ends that sideways rotation. The 25th may very well be where the lowest low is.